Will there be a new Specialized Venge coming out in the year 2024? That is one of the questions I get asked the most on this channel. That is one of the questions I get asked all the time on Instagram. As you guys all know, I'm a huge advocate for the Venge bicycle. I have owned two of them myself. I think they perform so well here in the flats, but also, even if you don't have the flat area around you, I'm sure you guys know someone who lives in the mountains who has a Specialized Venge with a pair of CLX 50s on there. And it's one of just those flagship bicycles that really put a staple in the cycling community. But with the release of the new Tarmac SL8 and them doing such a good job of taking what the SL7 did so well and making it crazy light, I think also there are going to be some changes to the Specialized lineup by them getting rid of some of the bikes. And also, I think they really did foreshadow where they're going for in the future by making this SL8 so light. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the video and we'll talk about the changes that Specialized, in my opinion, is going to be happening in the upcoming year. So before we get into the Specialized Venge and everything like that, we have to go ahead and take a look at this bicycle right here, the Specialized Aethos. This bicycle was released pretty much alongside with the Tarmac SL7 around 2020, and it was almost about 3 months after the SL7 launched. The SL7 was launched as a do-it-all bicycle by Specialized, and it basically replaced the Venge, one bike to rule them all. But then just 3 months later, they came out with this bicycle called the Specialized Aethos. Now, I'm not dogging it by any means. I got to ride the bicycle, but it wasn't one of our top sellers here in Florida. This bicycle was marketed as a crazy lightweight climbing bike that isn't meant to race, but if you're a pure enthusiast that just enjoys lightweight performance, it had the same geometry as the Tarmac SL7, but you didn't care about the branding, this bicycle was for you. Now, a lot of my customers, when they come into the store, they want to ride what they see the pros riding. They want to buy something that people recognize, and then usually when they spend that kind of money, they want the branding, they want the labeling. So this bicycle right here was almost the complete opposite. If we look at this bicycle, it's literally zero branding, and you couldn't even tell it was Specialized if you looked hard enough. But it came in at a crazy lightweight. They advertised as 595 gram weight for this frame set, which is unheard of for a disc brake bike. And again, not knocking the bike at all. This is one of the strongest bikes they came out with, and they said, hey, it's a bicycle meant for minimalists. Regular 27.2 seat post, external cables with a regular stem and regular bar in there. They basically sold it as a bicycle that will never go out of style. It will never be replaced because of the fact that there's nothing proprietary on there, which at the time of all this new proprietary stuff coming out, people really were kind of thrilled about. There was this crowd that really did aim and really want to go forward with the proprietary stuff and wanted the integrated cables and wanted that high-tech stuff. But then you had to kind of have this crowd that was still stuck in 2018, 2016, the purebreds, the enthusiasts who wanted a bicycle that they could work on at the garage that wouldn't cost them $100 to change out headset bearings and have to re-bleed hydraulic disc brakes. So this was the bicycle kind of giving people an easy transition from a rim brake bike to like a disc brake bike, I guess, because of the fact that you had these external cables on there. Also, a lot of people did not know this. I mentioned this before that this is the exact same geometry that Specialized says as a Tarmac SL7, but this is also their strongest bicycle that they make in terms of rider weight. This can take up to someone who is 280 pounds, and I also have someone on this bicycle right now that's currently over 300 pounds riding this bicycle because of just the normal rounded tubes, the normal integrated seat post, the normal exterior seat post clamp, everything on that bike. So this bicycle was meant to be super strong, but also super light. But then, like I said, we had the issues of it wasn't being used in the tours or it wasn't being used as a race bike. It really wasn't for that consumer who it was for. It was like this unbranded bicycle that was too expensive for the purebreds to buy because of the fact that they thought that maybe it wasn't worth the money. And it had the same exact price tag as a Specialized Tarmac SL7 with none of the integration and with none of the Aero claims on there as well. So this bicycle is around that 13, 14 grand price tag. In 2021 Tour de France, the Specialized Aethos made its first ever appearance, ridden by Casper Asgreen from Specialized, and he rode it in the mountain stages. Basically, the gentleman was not competing for anything. He just basically said, hey, I'm going to be riding in a group peloton. I'm not going to be going out front in the wind. What's the difference of the aero qualities if I'm riding inside of a bunch? I just want the lightest bike possible. So this was the first ever kind of time that Specialized actually rode this bicycle. And when this bicycle first launched, they basically said, hey, this isn't meant for a tour bike. This is just meant for group rides, leisure rides, coffee rides, everything like that. But it was really cool because this is the first time ever seeing this bicycle perform in the Tour de France. They also slapped the big SRX branding on there so people would know that it was a Specialized aethos. But again, it was really this bicycle that didn't have a place, to be honest with you. It was kind of like a 2015 bike in the future on there. And even that, at the end of the day, the Specialized aethos was really cool because it was this lightweight machine that people were building up in the 5 to 6 kilos. But if you're going to be racing the World Tour, it still has to meet requirements of 6.8 kilos. So it's still getting held back by these kind of outdated weight limits that everyone says. So Specialized comes along in 2023 and they released the new bike, the Tarmac SL8. And basically, I think they did a really good job with this bicycle. Obviously, again, full disclosure, I work for Specialized. But in terms of like what they did for this bicycle, is crazy. And also, I think it's an ode to the Tarmac SL7 because of how good that bicycle was. That there are really small, marginal gains to aerodynamics here. But the weight limit of what they did was crazy. They took basically technology from the Aethos to make it super lightweight. They took a frame that used to be about 800 grams from the Tarmac SL7, and they brought it down to 695 grams, 100 grams over this Aethos frame set. So why is there a point to have the Specialized Aethos now if I've been seeing Tarmac SL8's complete buildups coming in 6.2 kilos? That's with pedals, cages, and garment mount. You can literally have pretty much a Tarmac Aethos, a Specialized Aethos with Aero qualities. And that's what I was saying also about this with Aero wheels or Aero bikes as well. You're getting Aero wheel sets with pedals, with cages, and Aethos quality rear stays as well, because you literally have Aethos rear stays and Aethos bottom bracket here. Still under 6.8 kilos. I don't see there to be a reason to have the Aethos category in there anymore. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it'll almost confuse the consumer, because if you can get a Aethos comfort on here with the Venge aerodynamics and also the Tarmac lightweight bicycle on there, I think that category is going to disappear. And I think the consumers who kind of wanted that Aethos would just kind of migrate over to that Tarmac SL8. Yes, this has the integrated stuff on there, but usually the person paying that high price tag has the money to do the headset swaps and the integrated disc brake bleedings on there anyways. It wasn't like the Aethos was a super cheap bike that was meant for like the purebreds and people who want to work on the bicycles in the garage. It was still a pretty price tag for there. But again, this is where I come into the situation of the Specialized Venge. This bicycle right here, again, like I said, when they launched this bicycle, I was almost assuming I was either going to go like this. I said that it was either going to be a full-on add-on to the Specialized Tarmac SL7 to make it into the Venge category, so you would see much more deeper aerofoils and maybe continue on this way. I'd be like, okay, if I saw that, then maybe there wouldn't be a Venge. But this definitely plays more into the fact of that it seems like Specialized is taking on what everyone else is doing, where they have a dedicated climbing bike. And I think that Specialized is really going to go after a full-on aero quality bike with massive head tube options, massive BB options, and also huge seat posts as well. And the reason for this is because of, like I said, the SL7 launch. It came out, and let me just show you guys. So this is a website from a YouTuber, Bikeotic. He has an amazing website where you can literally see bikes side by side to each other. That's absolutely beautiful. So if you ever want to see bikes geometry side by side, whatever you'd like to see on there, he has an absolute beautiful website. I'll put a link to it down below. Really good job, Bikeotic. And also he has really good quality content. I'll put a link to his YouTube down there. But basically when the Tarmac SL7 launched on the platform, it looked pretty much like a baby Venge. Here's the Tarmac SL7. Here's the Venge. They literally took the upgrade. Basically all they did to the Tarmac SL6 was they just basically for the SL7 is made integrated cables and then copied the Venge rear stay. So why would they release this Tarmac SL7? There would be no reason to have them for a Tarmac SL7 and a Venge platform out at the same time. It'll literally only do is confuse customers of this matter. Because at the end of the day, Specialized is still a bicycle business. And if you were coming to my store and say, hey, I'm looking at a new bicycle, show me your bikes. And they say, what's the difference between the Tarmac SL7 and Venge? Basically, I would say the Tarmac SL7 is just a little bit lighter and the Venge is just a little bit more aerodynamic. And that was the whole selling point on the SL7, is that they used to say that basically they had the SL7 be exactly where they wanted to on the bicycle, and they said it was just a little bit less aerodynamic to the Venge, but it wouldn't make sense to keep the Venge around because it would confuse consumers. It's literally almost the exact same front end, a little bit smaller here, but they said because of the fact that the bicycle was a little bit lighter, that would kind of add benefit to being a Tarmac SL7 in that matter. So again, I think that what Specialized did was that they went ahead and just discontinued the Venge. They left this bike out on the playing field for a while, and I think they really went to work onto making something that's going to be a super aerodynamic bike, like I said, and play into that role of a full-on climbing bike and aero bike. Because as the market is right now, the aero bike scene is literally dominating the whole scene. If you guys don't believe me, check Jumbo Visma, check Matthew Van Der Poel with the Canyon Aero Road. These people aren't just using the aero bikes for only flat stages. I believe last year for the Paris-Roubaix, we had Matthew Van Der Poel riding his Canyon Aero Road in there with literally 32C tires in there. With the advances in these modern aero road bikes and with the advances of these modern aero rims, they're making it to a point where you can have these bicycles have crazy wide tires in there. And they're always making advances to seats, always making advances to bikes to make them a little bit more comfortable. So they're making these bicycles much more capable to do more things. So this bicycle has a 32C tire on that, riding on cobblestones with arrows because they want the best benefits. We also have Wout van Aert riding his Cervelo S5 along with Jonas Vingegaard. This was in the Paris-Roubaix again, but along with Jonas Vingegaard, pretty much riding his Cervelo S5 and everything except for like the dedicated climbing stages. Like, yes, he's still riding the R5 in those stages, but still the S5 seems to be their go-to bicycle with shallow depth wheels, with super wide tires. Basically, just deck this bike out to be their all-around bike. So I still think that the aero bike scene is a massive scene. I still think there's a market for it. So my predictions are for this in the world of Specialized market. I don't think there's going to be a Specialized Aethos anymore. I think that bike will be gone. I think the Tarmac SL8 will basically replace that bike. You have a bicycle now, the Tarmac SL8, that's their climbing bike, but also their aero bike because it says it's more aerodynamic than the SL7. There's no reason to have these Specialized Aethos anymore. I know that you have the lack of proprietary and that you also have the lack of being able to work on your house. But again, like I said, if you have that kind of money for the Aethos at those top tier price points, you should be able to afford a mechanic or maybe even take some investment and learn that stuff at your house. So no more Aethos. Tarmac SL8 will pretty much replace Tarmac SL7 and the Aethos. And then I believe that it will come out with a new Venge lineup as well and take advantage of this new UCI roll with the 3-to-1 and the head tube, take advantage of the bottom bracket area and a massive seat post. I'm basically thinking that it's going to look like a TT bike with just drop handlebars. And we will see how that goes. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Would you guys be upset if you were to see the Aethos go missing? And I know a lot of you guys are missing the Venge. I'm missing the Venge as well. But if you guys can choose one bike, what would it be? A Tarmac SL7 or Venge? You guys let me know down below. Oh, and by the way, guys, you guys always tell me to clean my freaking room. This is a garage. Okay, this is my garage. It's a beautiful garage. I'm tired of you guys always ragging on me about this stuff. So this is my bikes over there. Like, you know, like my bikes, my kid seats and stuff like that. That's my wife's shoe closet over there. It's my man cave. Everyone says, oh, clean your closet in the back. That is a closet. We don't have space in our house because we have so many freaking clothes, but that's our TV for the garage. And this is the door to the inside of my house. Okay, so this is just a throw around stuff in here. Maybe one day I'll turn it into a YouTube studio, but as of right now, a guy who's 30 years old, 2 kids and a wife, a garage is much more suitable for me than a YouTube studio. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys next one.